Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Shridi, I'm a junior doctor in the UK, and today I'm going to go through the 5 top free apps that I use on a day-to-day basis as a junior doctor. So this video is perfect for all junior doctors, also all medical students who are going to become junior doctors very soon, or anyone who's interested in medicine. These apps have really changed my life in terms of when I'm on the wards, when I'm seeing patients, so I highly recommend you to download these apps. You can get them right now, all you need is a smartphone. So let's begin. App number 1 is Ireses. So Ireses is a collection of all the resuscitation guidelines, completely up to date in the UK, in one app. So you've got pediatric guidelines, adult guidelines, and they're all in a really easy to use, really user-friendly app. So when you're seeing patients, you usually have time to ask your seniors about advice on management, look things up. But the one thing you can't look up, or you don't have time to look up, is resuscitation. So this app is an absolute lifesaver because you can look up the guidelines in your free time, revise them with really nice flowcharts, and you can learn them so that when you're on the wards, if you do unfortunately come across a kind of scenario like this, you can use what you've learned from revising from the app. On my first day of being a junior doctor, there was a crash call, cardiac arrest call, so I just think it's really important to learn these guidelines, and this app puts them all into one nice place. So let's have a look. So when you open the app, you've got all the different guideline categories. So you've got adult guidelines, pediatric guidelines. Let's just go on pediatric guidelines. So yeah, you've got the different ones. So if we just look at one of them, for example, so the choking child, you've got a nice flowchart going through all of the steps to do in different cases and scenarios. So yeah, this app is really good for junior doctors to refresh their basic life support skills, resuscitation skills, and also for medical students who are learning these for their exams. App number 2 is called Microguide. So what's Microguide? It's essentially a collection of all the different antibiotic guidelines for each hospital in one app. So when you start working at a specific hospital, or you're a medical student at a certain hospital, you can use this app to look at these specific antibiotic guidelines. And this app I found really useful being a junior doctor, because when you're on the wards and you need to prescribe antibiotics, you don't always want to call the consultant microbiologist, especially in the night. You don't want to disturb them. So this app is really useful to see which antibiotics you need to give to your patients. And I think this app could be really useful for medical students as well for their revision, because when you have practical exams, let's say there's a patient with septic arthritis, so infection of the knee, then you say in your management plan, I'd give antibiotics, and the examiner might say, what antibiotics? And so you know, if someone could say, I don't know, that would be the worst answer. Then if someone says, oh, I'd follow local guidelines, that's a really good answer as well. But then if you really want to impress the examiner, you can say, you know, I follow the local guidelines. Generally, this kind of antibiotic is used, but I've looked at the local guidelines because I've got Microguide, and I'm going to use these antibiotics in the first instance. So let's have a look at Microguide. Go to Microguide, there it is. So when you open Microguide for the first time, you have to select your hospital. I've already done that, so that's already done. So if I go to body systems, if you're, for example, you want to treat a particular condition, you can go to that specific condition. So let's just say skin conditions and animal-human bites. So it's really nice because it's got the first line antibiotics, which is Carmoxiclav in this case, and they've got the second line ones. So for example, if they've got a penicillin allergy, you can't use Carmoxiclav, so it shows you what you'd use in that case. So it also gives you when to escalate to the consultant microbiologist, so it's really good in terms of you can start the initial management with your team, and then you can contact microbiology for more advice. App number 3 is called Induction. So what's Induction? So essentially, each hospital has different numbers, different bleep numbers to contact different members of staff, whether it's doctors, different departments, different kind of radiology departments. And what Induction does, it has everything in one place. So I'm not going to show you the app for my hospital because it's got all the numbers, all the private numbers, but essentially it has all the numbers, and it's especially useful during the nights. Because in the days, you can call switchboard, you can say, can you put me through to the microbiology consultant? And they'll do that. But in the night, you don't want to wake people at switchboard up because, you know, I don't want to be, can you put me through to CT scan, when you can do that yourself. So you can use the app yourself, and you can look up, you can type CT and you can just see the number for CT, call them directly. If you can do something yourself, just do it yourself, and this is what Induction lets you do. And the other great thing I love about Induction is if someone's bleeped you, you can look at the number and you can type it straight onto Induction, and you can directly call the person who's bleeped you. So it just makes everything easier if you're not near a phone at that time, if you're walking or you're having a lunch or something like that. App number 4 is called MDCalc. So MDCalc has loads of different scoring systems. So scoring systems are used a lot in medicine, and as soon as you start working, your seniors will say, let's score this patient for pancreatitis, let's do a Wells score. So MDCalc has all of these scoring systems at your fingertips, and I just found it really useful because it's really easy to use and you've got them all in one place. So let's have a look at MDCalc. So MDCalc, So yeah, you can search for whichever scoring system you want. So let's just say we're scoring for pancreatitis. So in my hospital we use the Glasgow pancreatitis score. So you've got all the different categories. It's really easy. You look at their results and you can talk to the patient and just select yes or no for each one, and then at the end when you've done it gives you a score. Obviously you won't just use this score to treat the patient, you'd use your clinical judgment as well, but it's a really good starting point, and this app has all the validated tools that we use. And so for example in this case it says 5 points, so high risk, so then you'd think about, you know, escalating the management plan. So yeah, it's a really useful app. App number 5, it's not really a medical app, it's more like a lifestyle useful app. It's called My Shift Planner. So in our hospital, our rota is sort of given to us either in a spreadsheet or on a website, and it's not really easy to get to, it's not really easy to use. So what My Shift Planner does is really useful for someone who has a repeating rota. So for example, when I'm a junior doctor in paediatrics and we have a 3-weekly rota, so we have 3 weeks and that repeats itself until we finish our placement. So what I can do with My Shift Planner is put those 3 weeks in and it will continue repeating until I set an end date, and it's really useful to keep track of your shifts. So let's have a look at My Shift Planner. So My Shift Planner. So I've used a lot of rota apps, and especially the free ones. I mean, I'm sure there are really good paid ones, but I went through about 10 or 15 free ones and they just didn't really click with me. They had lots of ads, they weren't very useful, but then I found My Shift Planner, which is quite good, especially if you have a recurring rota, because you can put your recurring rota in, spend about 2 minutes first time you open it up, and then it will just repeat itself until the end of your placement. So you've got your normal days, your lates, you've got your nights as well, so it's really nice to have a look for when you want to book your annual leaves. So yeah, it's a really impressive free app. So those were my top 5 free apps that I love to use as a junior doctor that I find really useful. Give them a try. If you're a junior doctor, if you're a medical student, I'm sure they'll be really useful for you. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Consider subscribing to my channel because I've got a lot of content coming up. And if you have any video suggestions, anything you want to ask me, please do comment down below. So yeah, thank you very much for watching and see you next time.